All right, we're back. This episode of The Deep Life, we're diving into the holidays and eating and how to stay on track.
Yeah, basically how to enjoy the holidays without going off the rails,
and
maybe.
Feeling too guilty about it. First and foremost, it's the holidays.
Yeah.
And prepare yourself that you're gonna indulge. It's the time, it's a season of like friends and family, giving, enjoying, laughing, and that's mostly centered around food and gathering around tables and the kitchen, and it should be embraced. And if you have that mindset going into it, of it being like positive and that it's doesn't need to be obviously for 365 days, it's just a couple within the short amount of time in like the coming months, it's okay.
Yeah, I do. I think that is like the secret to it, is to like kind of put it in perspective.
Yeah.
And recognize that like it's just a few days. Like it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I think the two things that can go wrong basically are, one is obviously just completely going off the rails and then like from Halloween until New Year's you're just gonna eat whatever, drink whatever, and just punish yourself with treats. But the other thing that's like equally bad or even worse is to like deprive yourself.
Yeah.
And to like not like go to all these like holiday parties and events and like almost like punish yourself and have like the whole like, no, I can't eat that mentality.
Sure.
Where like the I'm on a diet mindset. And I think that both of those are like equally dangerous. And exactly what you said, or it's like if you can go into this season with the idea of like there's going to be events and these like great gatherings and feasts.
Almost as an excitement.
Yeah, it's fine. That's a healthy thing. We talk all the time about like
balance.
Kind of like balance, of course, and like kind of ancestral eating habits in a way, and like eating like a species specific diet, eating real food, and such a part of the human existence, like forever, the human experience has been like feast. Yeah, of course. Like that's how humans celebrate. Like this is such a normal thing. It's like that's what Thanksgiving is the perfect example. Like it is literally a feast giving thanks for the harvest. You're supposed like this is like abundance. This is excitement. This is like let's eat all the food. It's good. It's healthy. And then like when it's over, it's over. And that's an important thing, is sort of knowing when to cut it off, knowing when to just get right back on track. But having one day of a feast, and there'll be a few days of leftovers. But having like a weekend, like Thursday through Sunday of really enjoying yourself, is not going to throw you off for the year.
To also talk about that the holidays are anticipated. It's not something that's sprung on us, and that's something that we've learned too. It's kind of how we live our lifestyle and are able to kind of eat the way we do because we know that these are coming. So we try very hard to have our diet and nutrition in check up until then. Not that we don't stray here and there and treat ourselves every once in a while, but as opposed to having 7 cheat meals in 7 days, we clean eat for a very long time before Thanksgiving, knowing that we're going to have an amazing day and then have the leftovers. Like you said, same thing with Christmas coming up. Obviously we're Catholic, or we're Catholic.
Yeah, we were raised Catholic.
But we celebrate Christmas. But the same thing for Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever religion that you are.
It's there.
You know it's coming. Same thing with New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is a huge drinking night. That's amazing. Like prep yourself for that. But enjoy it, because then kind of coming up, bringing in the new year, everybody hits the grind of this is it, New Year's resolutions. That's great. But don't, like we said at the beginning, don't feel horribly about having, the pies and things like that. But okay, so let's give some suggestions on how to kind of minimize the guilt aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because that does happen. When it's not the actual feast of Thanksgiving or your special dinner, depending on what you're celebrating holiday-wise in, the December month, try to stay in your normal routine, diet and lifestyle-wise, as close as you can. Now we know that that's hard because a lot of people do travel and the schedule is set off differently, but once you get to your appointed destination, try, as important as it is, to do some sort of movement practice.
Yeah.
Make sure you're drinking enough water. Make sure you're getting 8 hours of sleep if you can. Those little healthy habits that are in place already, hopefully in your life, make monumental differences when overindulging or kind of having a big eating day that can contain a lot of sweets or unhealthy. I want to say unhealthy eating, just because that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, even just excessive eating, but then also don't not have the pie.
No, yeah.
Don't feel guilty about the pie, but also, like you said, so we know the last Thursday in November is going to be Thanksgiving. There's going to be pie. So let's not have pie for a couple weeks before that. Like it's simple. You know it's coming. Set yourself up. So almost like normal is amazing. Even better would be like to lean into it with a little bit of a deficit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that week leading up to Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever you're celebrating, pull back a little bit. Have don't have 2 servings of dinner. Maybe you can fast a little bit longer.
Right.
Maybe drink a little bit more water and less alcohol, and just all the little things that you can do to not necessarily deprive yourself, but because you have that thing to look forward to at the end of the week.
Absolutely.
But that way, Thursday rolls around and it's Thanksgiving and there's a feast, you're going to feel a lot better about eating more than you usually would.
For sure.
Because then it's just going to kind of balance out with the week leading up to it. We talk about sometimes like the 80-20 principle, where like if 80% of your diet is good, healthy food, and 20% is, let's say pie again, or like just junk food, you're still going to be fine in the long run. Like that balances out. It's not optimized, but it's like you're going to be in good shape. I think it's pretty easy to do like 90-10.
Yeah.
And then if you can literally just have 90 to 95% of the food that you eat that week be really healthy, then if you eat a ton of pie and just a ton of food in general, you swing back to that 20%, and then like you're already in great shape.
Absolutely.
And then it's also like I said, mentioned briefly before, like kind of knowing when to cut it off, because like there's going to be leftovers. There's going to be leftover pies, there's going to be leftover turkey, stuffing. Just eat it, enjoy it. Like it can be a great breakfast Friday morning. It's not that bad, but don't don't be like, oh well, I mean it was just Thanksgiving, so now like let's go to Chipotle and get a burrito. Like you don't need to go way above and beyond, like excessively. Just keep it to the celebration.
Absolutely, because I've fallen victim to that too a lot. When it's like when you're in that kind of, I really can't think of a better phrase other than like a cheat meal, like where it's like, okay, I had ice cream. F it, I'm just gonna like have the cookie and the candy bar a couple hours later, because you have that mentality of, well, F it, like that's okay to do every once in a while, but if you set yourself up knowing that, okay, I'm going to have the pie, and then the next morning's breakfast is just going to be, eggs, vegetables, and, bacon, sausage, whatever, and then I'm going to reserve that pie for later in the day. It's just setting yourself up, almost more intuitively eating it than not.
Absolutely.
It's probably difficult for most people, but also, like, what's going to be your best friend is intermittent fasting at this point. It's gonna be challenging though, probably, especially if you're traveling, but obviously the intermittent fasting, we need to tape a whole episode on this.
Yeah, we will definitely get deeper on fasting, because it's an amazing tool.
The kind of easiest way to put it is where you're fasting, quote unquote, resting from ingesting eating food for 16 hours, and then you've got the 8-hour window of when you are eating your 3 meals, 2 meals, 5 meals, however many meals you eat. So basically, like your night's sleep and then kind of skipping breakfast is your intermittent fasting. But that's so imperative to give your body time to rest, digest, and repair, because it's going to be overloaded with many more toxins, chemicals, sugars, carbohydrates that it's not used to. So you have to allow it that time to rest. If you can't do 16, even try to get 12 hours. 12 hours would be really, really beneficial.
Yeah.
To your body needs to relax and digest and to recover and to get rid of the excess.
Yeah, clear everything out and start over, because it is like, it's a stress to eat. To eat in general is a stress to your body, and that's fine. It's like it's a hermetic stress. Like, it's the stress comes in, stress goes out.
Yeah.
But you need to have that. You need to stop the stress.
Yes.
So that there's time to repair.
Yes.
And to
and
actually assimilate the nutrients. Another thing to think about is that I think just almost like a mindset shift around like what is healthy and what's not. Mm-hmm. Because I think if in your mind the only things that you can eat are like steamed vegetables, like steamed broccoli, chicken breast, white rice, like very simple, or like that like rice cake mentality, like if I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna eat like stuff that tastes like cardboard and like that nothing is good. Like turkey is really, really healthy. If you get like a good pasture raised organic turkey, that's really, really good quality, delicious meat. Like most of like Thanksgiving dinner and most big feasts in general, it's like pretty healthy food.
Yeah, it's vegetables.
Like, so you're gonna eat more than you usually do, but you're eating a lot of like meat and vegetables.
Yeah.
So you don't need to feel as guilty, I think, as people probably do, or definitely a lot of people do. Yeah. Because healthy food doesn't need to taste like cardboard.
No, it doesn't.
You can have delicious, healthy food. Yeah. You can have like a really nice roast, or you can like. There's so many delicious things. Mashed potatoes, sweet potato, like.
Definitely.
And then you can. The more control you have over the food, the healthier it's going to be.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. The best tip is always.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Make your own food.
Make it, prepare it where you can. If you can make pies as opposed to store-bought pies, same thing with vegetables, like if they're pre-made, or if you're making them yourself, then you're controlling the oils, you're controlling the spices, they're making sure they're organic, what they're cooking. Absolutely, that's always. Yeah,
and that's, just being able to cook your food in butter rather than canola oil. Yes, it's going to make such a huge difference. Yeah. Eliminating.
So hold on, before. So, helpful tip. If there are any recipes that call for any amount of vegetable oil, we would really highly recommend substituting that with grass-fed butter. Mm-hmm. It is a much healthier source of fat that's not high linoleic acid that's going to like just
oxidize and break down
in your body.
Cause inflammation.
Yes, grass-fed butter is the same thing as not the same thing.
No, it's far from the same thing.
But I'm saying, like, if you're reading a recipe and you see vegetable oil, just substitute that.
Yeah, or especially like margarine. Like margarine, just straight up replace that with butter.
Yeah, butter. Yeah,
it's so much such a better.
Yeah. So if the recipe calls for a half of a cup of vegetable oil, use a half of a cup of butter.
But that would be different. Like butter. Baking, it gets a little complicated, right? Or can you, like, if you're baking a pie? Yeah. Well, pie should actually have butter in the crust, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I substitute it.
Okay.
Yeah. So a half a cup of vegetable oil. It's because it's the consistency.
Right. That's what I wanted to be clear about.
The butter, but just substitute it.
Just use butter in general. Butter is so unbelievably healthy and good for you.
Yeah, and it doesn't have. I mean, butter has a flavor, but the reason vegetable oils are in a lot of recipes is because it's flavorless. Mm-hmm. Butter does add a little bit of flavor, but it's not going to ruin a recipe when you substitute it.
Yeah, the taste of butter will never ruin anything.
No, but okay, what were you going to say before that?
I think that was kind of it. Like just in general, the more like just different tips about like cooking your own food and like anything, like if you're like make your own stuffing rather than buying store-bought stuffing, because then you can control what kind of breadcrumbs go into it, what kind of seasoning goes into it, and you can eliminate preservatives. And like your Thanksgiving meal or whatever, your Christmas, your Hanukkah, this is going to be devoured in 2 days. You don't need a shelf life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this stuff doesn't need to last forever, and it shouldn't. Like foods that last forever, outside of like honey, you don't really want to eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like control the ingredients, control what goes into it.
Yeah, and it's so fun to cook. I mean, how much fun do we have when we're cooking all together and like your family's around and doing things like that?
Yeah, it's such a great way to like share love and appreciation for each other and do things for people, and that's the whole point of the sort of the season. And it's something like,
absolutely,
this is like a sacred moment, and the more love you put into the food, the more community there is, the more appreciation everybody has for each other.
Yeah.
The better the food is going to be for you. Like you are bringing in the energy of the people who made the food as well as the nutrients of the food. So you're bringing in like the turkey. Is that a happy turkey or is that a sad turkey? Like that plays a role in it. What that turkey ate, who harvested the turkey, where you got it from, who made it, who was around when you made it, who you're eating it with, all matters.
Definitely.
Like it's all, everything is everything.
Yes, it is. Okay, so then another tip that I would say is going to be your best friend is apple cider vinegar at this point. People should be drinking apple cider vinegar every day. We do, sometimes twice a day.
Yeah.
And apple cider vinegar is so beneficial for regulating blood sugar and helping with insulin resistance.
Yeah.
So that means anytime you're ingesting carbs or sugar, it's going to help that spike and your cravings. So typically what we do, because we've been drinking apple cider vinegar for so many years, we just take it straight, a tablespoon of it, a shot, basically a shot of it. But it can be very, very harsh and strong for people. So you can always mix a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar with some water and lemon, if that helps. You can also add a dash of honey if you need to, but again, this is really, I'm not giving you this recipe so that it tastes great for you. It's just really beneficial for when you're about to eat a bunch of carbs, a bunch of sugar, a bunch of cookies, cakes, pies at this time.
Yeah.
Have it immediately before you're going to eat, so that it's the first thing in your stomach before you ingest those carbs.
And that's going to help. That's going to help with the blood sugar, limit that spike, so you don't have the crash, so you don't have the insulin spike, so you don't have to store more fat. Basically, it's going to help you store less body fat because that will be shuttled into muscle and be stored and used more easily. It's also going to help with digestion.
Yes.
So if you get like really bad heartburn or something like that after a big meal like this, a little bit of apple cider vinegar is going to help. I think a common mistake, and it's something we see with like Western medicine, is like taking antacids to offset heartburn. But the reason that you're getting heartburn is because you don't have the acidity to break down the food and the proper enzymes to break down the food, so your body's panicking and creating more and just kind of throwing all this acid. Where if you can take something acidic, like apple cider vinegar, into your system, your stomach can relax a little bit. It doesn't have to overproduce the acids, and then you won't get the acid reflux and heartburn. And I think exercise is another great tip.
And exercise and sleep.
Yeah.
So exercise. It doesn't need to be, again, your normal. You know, if you're hitting the gym, especially if you're traveling, it can be simple movement, 20, 30 minutes of even like a vigorous walk or a jog or some body weight. You know, do 100 squats with 100 push-ups and 100 jumping jacks, like something that gets your blood going, your lymph moving, because if you're sitting stagnant on a couch or a chair through the entire holiday season, your body's not, what goes on internally isn't happening internally.
Yeah.
You can probably speak to that a little bit more scientifically than I can, but
so it's like basically, like, I think where you're going is perfect. It's like if your body's stagnant, if you have all these, nothing's moving. So if you're bringing in more toxins than you usually would, you need to make sure you're moving to process them out. So you want to, like you said, move that lymph around, move your blood around, get your body moving just enough to feel good. It's like if you can feel good through the whole week, you're in great shape.
Exactly. Even doing yoga or depending on weather, jump rope where you are. So it's just the littlest thing is beneficial. Like I said, 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Make it a fun activity with
exactly.
the kids.
Yeah,
With
get a group.
Or
Yeah.
cousins, family, aunts, uncles, anyone.
Yeah.
Who wants to stretch? Who wants to do, you know, a 15-minute yoga session? I mean, it can be so. That's also like a community-driven aspect.
I was just gonna say that. Just like when we were saying like eating and cooking and preparing the meal is a community thing, you can have a community workout.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like what would have happened like if you look back to hunter-gatherers. Like I was saying before, like having periods of time where you don't eat a lot and then having a big feast is very, very human. And that would have been a community thing. It would have been like a community hunt, and then community preparing of the food, and a community feast. And that's like the best way to do it. And I would add on the exercise thing that like if you are, especially somebody who like is in good shape, if you're capable, and if you have time, I think like it's a great move to have like a really hard workout.
Oh, agreed.
On
yes,
Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah.
Like that's what we'll be doing. That's what we've been doing for years. It's like get up Thursday morning.
Super
really, really early, and like before that turkey goes in the oven, we're going hard, and we're going to get a lot of volume. We're going to sweat. We're going to get our heart pumping, and we're going to be like in a big calorie deficit.
Yes.
Just because, why not? We know the calories are coming. We want that feast to go somewhere. Like I want to almost use this as an opportunity to build muscle, rather than an opportunity to like feel bad and get fat. Like
totally.
It's the exact same meal can be used in two different ways depending on what your intention is.
Absolutely.
So I would say if you have the time, like it's not the most imperative thing. I think the other things we said earlier about sort of like setting yourself up in a calorie deficit for the week, preparing your own food, being in community, enjoying yourself, going for walks, all probably the most important thing.
Yep.
But then like if you can, an added bonus is to just go hard as you can that morning and kind of set yourself up to enjoy that feast.
Yeah,
but
and the other ones. Yeah, and I would say the only other thing I would suggest is really try to get the 8 hours of sleep, because the 8 hours of sleep is going to repair your body significantly, especially the sugar that you're getting.
Yeah. So I'd say like, I think.
And I know 8 hours of sleep is hard in general for people, especially if they're on a normal day. But like if you're traveling, the time differences we understand. But
you're not at home. You're in someone else's home, or there's people around.
But like, even if you need to take naps when you don't normally nap, like it doesn't necessarily need to be 8 hours at night. You could do a 6 hours with an hour and a half, 2 hour nap or something, whatever. But that sleep is really, really going to help. Yeah,
sleep is one of those things because it's not. I think everybody just thinks it's like tired. It's like if if I don't sleep, I'm gonna be tired, and I don't want to be tired, and that's true.
100%.
Like you don't want to be tired.
No.
But more importantly, that's your body's opportunity to repair itself. That's your body's opportunity to like grow back better, and that's where you reset your hormones. So like when things are weird, when things are out of the ordinary, when everything's going kind of haywire and you're stressed because of whatever it is, travel and all the other things we've been listing, your hormones are going to be so out of whack where if you can get 8 hours of sleep, you can reset your hormones. And the hormones play such a huge role in like appetite and in like nutrient partitioning. I think that's the right word, partitioning. Like where the nutrients are being sent. If I didn't say anything, it would have sounded smart. But yeah, like if you have like good balanced hormones, you're going to send nutrients where they're needed so that you can stay healthy. It's interesting. Like this is cold and flu season, which I guess is kind of weird because it's been that for 2 years now. But forever, this has been the time of year when people get sick, and part of that is because of the travel and the stress and the sugar and the alcohol and not getting enough sleep. So you can stay on top of that, combat that, build your health, and like sort of fortify your health and your hormones by getting good sleep. And that's also, it's going to help with like what I was saying before, is getting the nutrients into your muscles, getting the nutrients into the right places, keeping you healthy, and not starving all the time, not storing nutrients or like blood sugar and everything as body fat, but actually using it for energy and just having your body work properly. And then also like not about blowing up at the table at like your uncle or whoever like sets you off and whatever it is. Everybody has their family issues. Like you're gonna be better if you're well rested, if you're happy.
Yes. So the holidays are here. We hope that you guys enjoy them and have lots of great food and not feel too badly. Hopefully the little tips and tricks that we gave you are, helpful and useful, and don't
stress about it. Like enjoy this and embrace it.
Absolutely.